think about MMA, right?
Yeah.
If we talk about maybe, let's go a little longer, like 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
How many, like, I'm just going to throw an example out there, and I'm going to be completely off because this isn't my expertise, right, fighting. But how many wrestling coaches do you think trained or understood jiu-jitsu?
Oh, bro.
Right?
Like,
Hardly
minimal,
any.
bro.
Yeah.
Like,
or like, it could be anything, right? How many,
you could go
how
back
many
30 years ago.
How many Muay Thai coaches understood wrestling? You know, like, you could say, like, okay,
the knowledge of understanding another art was minimal.
Yeah. And now, you know, they still might be like a specialist, right? But they're exposed to different coaches, and different people on the team collaborate now.
You said the key word, bro. Exposure.
And that's what I think. Yeah, and then it's so easy to get exposure. Like, you have, I mean, even on your team alone, right? Ivan, your striking coach, right? Yeah. And Rylan, right? They're pretty much communicating all the time, right? Yeah. About how to help you in your camp, your strategy, and all of that. That's at least my understanding, right? Yeah. And you think about that, that's the norm now, right? Yeah. Now, I'm going to pull it back into healthcare. And this is where it's key. I think you look, even 20 years ago, I mean, even 10 years ago, some of this was unfortunately still happening. You would see an area, a discipline, right, not have any overlap with the next area. And, you know, the three big fields I think that I see, which is moving in a much better direction now, is physical therapy, athletic trainers, and strength and conditioning coaches. Because there's a lot of overlap. You cannot just be working in your silo and only focus on getting the athlete from here to here and then done, right? Because there's a lot of overlap. You can see, like, when you do your strength and conditioning, there's a lot of overlap with some of the correctives, some of the injury prevention stuff, some of the old injuries, right? And the more that there's overlap, and I'll even throw like nutritionists, doctors, you know, everyone into the mix, the more that everyone can collaborate and get just a little bit more understanding as how that piece of the puzzle fits together. Just like in the MMA world, right? The more that all of your coaches of different disciplines can see how that piece of the puzzle is going to fit together in your game plan, that's what really gets us to raise the bar, gets us to a new level, right? And I think that's what's going to happen more and more, is that hopefully there's more collaboration, more understanding as to all of these different facets of whatever it is that we're doing, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's the biggest thing. But when it comes to Hawaii and collaborating, everything's like, we don't have Dallas Cowboy money where we can just be in a facility and then there's investors in here just paying all of that, making, you know what I mean, investing in these and having a facility where we all can do that, especially in Hawaii.
Especially
don't have that. You have a lot of those in California and in the mainland. You have a lot of those investors. We don't have that. And when it comes to money, it's just businesses have a hard time collaborating in Hawaii. With uniting, and like, just from being a professional athlete, I see how many partnerships have just folded because of just money, and whether it's greed or whatnot, like, money plays a big factor in it. And I think like that's where MMA needs to grow, and, you know, us as coaches, athletic trainers, and athletes know how to, like, how we'll have an area where we can kind of collaborate like that and give our own piece of the puzzle, right? Like, because everybody has their own time and energy that needs to be put in a different way. Like, you can't shove a piece of the puzzle of my piece of my puzzle in the way you want. Like, you can, but it's not gonna, you know what I mean? I want to do that myself. Like, and it's hard when you don't have coaches, or you don't have that collaboration, and the athletes or the management has to put that together. Dallas, all the NFL, NBA player teams, right? They all got, they got the physical therapists. They're all on that same page. The athletes, the coaches. We don't have that in Hawaii. Maybe in MMA in general, but in Hawaii specifically too, it's hard. So we gotta try and collaborate as best as we can. And I'm fortunate, you know, I have coaches and a team that helps me do that. So that's a big factor. And I think in another 10, 20 years, that's gonna change. Yeah, and that's like how you talked about. You mentioned this off the recording first, but you're saying, like, in 10, 20 years, who knows where it could be? Maybe there's like I hope that fighters getting pensions, or getting minimum wage, right? I hope that it's far better than what I've been putting in. And I'm blessed with whatever I've had. Like, I know I was getting paid more
if there
than
was
most
even
of the
like
fighters.
I don't even know if this would be possible, but even imagine if there was like a draft, like all these other sports, there's a draft.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And then based off of all of the people that are outside of the organization, right? Who knows what the possibilities could
Well, I
be.
mean, they're making it to a point where it's almost like a draft. That's why you got contenders.
That's true. Yeah.
Right? And like you don't need, that's the thing too. It's like MMA has already got to that because there's fighters in there that hasn't fought, and they're just, you got a wrestler, CM Punk.
Yeah.
Right? It's about who you know. And NFL has those guys too. They have people that just pick up whoever they want.
Yeah.
However they want. They pick up a rugby player.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just that's the greatest thing about MMA, that it's so general that you can have all types of athletes come in and perform.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know, like football,
And,
like you kind of have one. It's rare to see a basketball player go into football.
Yeah.
Right? But you can switch it around with MMA, and you can have all these different that's why MMA is it's a sport now, because all these athletes can make it athletic and sport like. Well, we still can be fighting too. Like me, I don't consider myself an athlete. I play an athletic I'm an athletic professional athlete that takes my responsibilities, but I consider myself a martial artist. Right? And then I have all these things that all these whatever accolades or things that people make you out to be, right? And, oh, you're an athlete. You are, I'm a martial artist, but you know, I get paid to do what I like. And some people is like, no, I'm an athlete, and it's all perspective.
It's all perspective.
It's all perspective, but things is growing, and you see that now, and it's good for MMA. And I just hope us fighters, especially the people around the fighters, like the coaches and all that, have a better. It evolves into us having a better future. Yeah. Right.
I think, and that's the exciting conversations to have, to think about where it could go in the future, right? MMA and sports, and you know, you guys are literally paving the way right now for the future generation of people in MMA.